I'm here with Nate Garrett to talk about Spirit Adrift. And man, a lot there needs to be said about Spirit Adrift these days. Let me just get right into it. I'm not even going to give you a chance to say hello or anything like that. Nate, I'm going to start referring to you as a box of chocolates because you don't know what's on the inside until you open it. I mean, not only you surprise the world with an album, you surprise the world with the band's last album. Like, what the fuck?
I've been thinking about it for a while, man. I actually for a while thought Ghost at the Gallows was going to be the last one, for a lot of different reasons, but I'm glad I didn't make that the last one because the new one's my personal favorite. It's like the first time I feel like I really hit center bullseye on like exactly what I was trying to do. But yeah, I knew from the beginning, as soon as I started working on this one, that it's the last one.
At what point in time, even before we talk about being the last one, at what point in time do you decided that you were going to release this, but you're not going to tell anybody? It's going to be kind of a surprise. Hey, here's a new record.
Again, man, that's something I've been wanting to do for a while because, and there's a lot of different reasons for both of these decisions. I'll try to say it as succinctly as I can, but one factor with that was like when we were working with Sensory Media, which is a bigger label owned by Sony. Um, for whatever reason, these bigger labels want to do like a ton of advanced singles, and from the time the album is announced to the time it's released, it's usually like 3 or 4 months or something like that.
Mhm.
And I just hated that whole process, man, for a lot of different reasons. Like, a that's too long to me in between announcing and releasing. It's just too long. Like the interest just kind of trickles off and fades. And then another thing I was noticing is whatever the first single that you put out, a lot of people are going to judge the entire album just on that one single. But I feel like most Spirit Adrift's albums, especially Ghost of the Gallows, there's a lot of different kinds of songs, right? So I want people to experience the whole album. I don't want them to hear one or two songs, make up their mind whether or not they like it, or make up their mind what they kind of album they think it's going to be. Uh, so yeah, all those factors were kind of swirling around in my mind. And I watched a Led Zeppelin documentary where they were talking about the late '60s, how it was either FM or AM radio. One of those versions of radio was like focusing on singles, short songs, short form content as we would refer to it now. Whereas I think it was AM radio was coming in and more focused on like full albums. And so Jimmy Page decided with that first Zeppelin album, I want to make an album where you almost can't get a single out of it. Like the songs bleed into each other. There's no singles, no nothing. You have to hear the whole entire album. Um, and I feel like history repeats itself, right? So we're in an era now where everything's like single oriented and short form content and TikTok and all this shit. I'm an album guy. I'm an album guy. So I figured if there's no advanced singles, if there's no warning whatsoever, and we just put out the whole album, it's more likely that people will listen to the entire album as it's intended to be heard.
It's funny that you say that because I can't tell you how many times I've heard an album, love the individual songs in the context of that album, and then for whatever reason I put one or two on my gym playlist or whatever the case might be, and then when I listen to the individual song out of the context of the record, it doesn't even sound like the same song. I'm like, why did I put this song here? Like this song is not garbage, but it's like makes no sense. But I remember really liking it when I was listening to the album. So it's really interesting that you have that approach. I have the same approach.
Yeah, that's just how I got into music, man. Like when, I listened to like when I was very, very young, I would listen to like Creedence Clearwater Revival greatest hits or whatever. But even in that case, it's like, yeah, you get so used to a song finishing and you know the exact beginning of the next
Mhm.
song. That's like drilled into your mind what's coming next. And sometimes when you don't hear that next, to me, when the song Battery finishes, Metallica, the next thing you're supposed to hear is the beginning of Master of Puppets. And when Master of Puppets finishes, the next thing you're supposed to hear is thing that should not be, and so on and so forth. And yeah, that's how I got into metal and into extreme music, was listening to full albums all the way through. That's my preferred way of experiencing music and writing music and releasing music. So yeah, again, I just figured like if we just drop this, then that's how people should experience. That's how I want people to experience it, is all 8 songs in a row as a complete package.
I can't tell you how surprised I was because I got the not the press release, but I got an email from the PR team, I think 3 or 4 days before the actual album dropped. And it's like embargoed, all of these like big labels. And I'm like, what the hell is happening with Spirit Adrift? And I look at the body of the email, it's like, what the fuck? Like, wow, like talk about creating a buzz for the record. Like that alone creates a huge buzz for the record. So there's definitely that to be said about it. When you look at what you've done with Spirit Adrift, 10 years, 6 full-length records, was the writing always on the wall? I know you've been thinking about this for a while, but was the writing always on the wall for you in terms of how far you would want it to take Spirit Adrift?
No, man, I would love nothing more than to be like direct support for Metallica on a tour or something like that. Like there was never any I was willing to go as big as we could get it. COVID definitely played a huge factor for every band. Just completely changed the whole vibe, not just the whole um like financial and logistical aspects of touring and all that, but it on a deeper level, it changed the whole fucking vibe of the whole thing, almost in like a spiritual way. And things just became so much more negative from where I'm sitting. Before COVID, it really felt like there was like a community and a love and bands and agents and managers really kind of, maybe I'm naive back before COVID, I don't know, but it felt like people really wanted everybody to succeed. And dude, once COVID happened and people were literally like out of work, like agents, crew, promoters, venues, people in bands, managers, label, everybody, like everybody was essentially out of work for like 2 years almost. Uh, and trying to get back into it after that, it just didn't feel the same. Um, so that's really when I kind of started thinking, do I want to do this anymore? Am I enjoying this? Like I love playing music, I love writing music and playing shows, but every other aspect of it is just demoralizing and mean and like desperate. Like there was this new desperation kind of feeling. Yeah, that's when I started thinking around the time of Ghost at the Gallows. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And then, my wife gets diagnosed with cancer. When something like that happens, it really forces you to look at like, how am I spending my time? Because time is the most precious and valuable thing that there is, right? I mean, nothing matters if you don't have time, right? If you have
Mhm.
one day left to live, it doesn't matter if you're torn with Metallica or doing this or that. So I really started even more deeply analyzing like, how do I want to spend my time on this earth? And it's not like fighting people over merch cuts and fighting the same 3 managers whose same 12 bands are just touring constantly. Like I just don't want to fight this shit anymore. I'm gonna keep making music. I just don't want to. I'm not gonna participate in all that bullshit anymore.
Do you feel like the ecosystem is dying or is dead?
Yeah, pretty much. I think it has been for a long time, and it's the same. It's the same thing that's happening in other areas of industry. It looks like the world is, and especially the United States, is moving towards a future where there's going to be like 2 or 3 companies that own everything. And that's been happening in the music industry for years and years and years. Like most, even underground metal labels are owned by one of 3 big labels, right? There's like Warner, Sony, and Universal. Um, Relapse is owned by Sony. Century Media is owned by
Owned
Sony.
by
Century
Sony.
Media is basically dissolving right now. Um, yeah, so you have like Metal Blade, which is still independently owned by Slagle. He's like the actual owner and operator of it. You have Season of Mist in France,
Mhm.
which is owned by Michael. And we've been talking to him a little bit about working with him in Europe on back catalog and stuff like that. But beyond, and 20 Bucks Spin is independently owned, Profound Lore. But yeah, it already doesn't exist even in the form that it did when I got into the touring industry, which wasn't all that long ago. Not to mention comparing it to like the 90s before like illegal downloading and stuff like that. That version of the music industry has been dead for a long time. But I think even this diminished version of it doesn't have that much longer unless something drastic happens. I don't know.
I find that sometimes bands are almost willing to cut their nose to spite their face. You know what I mean? Like, it just feels like it cannot be sustainable for much longer the way things are. Like you mentioned, the merch cuts as one of the issues, but there's so much involved in the industry that I think sometimes bands turn a blind eye to it, and plunge forward because they feel like that's the right thing to do in order to keep themselves and not in the limelight, but to keep themselves relevant. But not
Yes.
understanding that it's just not sustainable, and the demise of one becomes the demise of all because it's kind of like a domino effect. It's a matter of time before the dominoes start hitting one another and then they all start to fall. I've seen that myself for a very long time, and I'm always amazed at the fact that people are just whistling, like totally ignoring it and just hoping that it goes
Whistling
away or it
past the
gets better.
graveyard.
Yeah,
What
yeah. It's like
is
it's
that
like
what
oh,
they
I
say?
know.
Like yeah, whistling past the graveyard. Yeah, the thing is, man, I was actually listening to some UFC fighters talking about this about like, dude, once you've performed at the biggest level and on the biggest stage, so in their world that would be like uh winning a title in front of 20,000 people or whatever. It's hard, almost impossible to like walk away from that, even if it's time to walk away and go get some like normal job or whatever. And the same applies to bands. And I feel it in myself too. I understand why a lot of these bands are just like holding on for dear life, and bands that you even think are big and successful are losing money touring,
Mhm,
but they just don't like once you play Hellfest or something like that and you're playing in your music that you wrote in your fucking kitchen or whatever in front of like 10, 20,000 people, 100,000 people, whatever it is, you don't want to stop doing that no matter what. Like, even if you are losing money, even if you're unable to pay your bills at home because you're not making enough touring or whatever. And I swear, man, it's like, I know guys in big bands and it's affecting everybody. It's affecting everybody. But again, it's like, yeah, once you've played your songs in front of 10, 20, 100,000 people, you get like, I don't even know if addicted is the right thing, but it's just like you don't want to stop doing that. And it's easier just to continue on that same path, even if it's not sustainable, like you said.
yeah, you also don't want to talk about it because you don't want to remove the lore that exists surrounding the band and the perception that fans have of your band. So you feel almost like you're a hostage of this persona that you created, so that if you talk about it, then the veil comes down and everybody can actually see what's going on, and you don't want that. So
Right.
you become your worst enemy at that point in time as well. So it's such an interesting dynamic, I find.
Yeah. Well, they call that optics in politics. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what you want, even if it's not real, you want to control the way that the public is perceiving you, right? But you see, I mean, a guy like me, I've dropped that completely. I don't give a shit anymore. But even like Randy from Lamb of God, you're starting to see him drop the facade
Hmm.
that a guy like him is expected to maintain in order to keep the optics of that band like, oh, that's a big band, that's a like recent interviews with him, I'm like, oh, this guy's fucking frustrated too. Like you said, it almost feels like he's a hostage to an organization rather than uh creating art and music with his friends in a band. It's more kind of like, oh, we're like tied to this organization, and I think they're having to play catch up for all the money that they lost during COVID. You know, I
Yeah.
don't I don't blame them. I love that band and I love him, and I think it's commendable when somebody like him can start speaking honestly about this sort of stuff.
I agree with you 100%. So, with that, all of that said, is this a goodbye or we'll see you later? Like, is there any chance of you dropping another surprise album 3 years from now?
I would never say never. I'm definitely going to continue making music. Like I'm making another Neon Nightmare record for sure. I'm going to make a solo record for my wife, which is going to be not really metal, more kind of like the other side of the music that I love, 60s and 70s music, country, psych rock, and Gene Clark and Rocky Erickson and Tom Petty and all that kind of stuff. As far as Spirit Adrift, I mean, right now, I feel like I feel like everything just happened too perfect. Like our last show was too perfect. It was amazing. It was just like people were asking me if I felt melancholy or sad or emotional. And I'm like, no, it felt like amazing. It was one of my favorite shows I've ever played. It felt perfect. Everything about the whole day, the whole experience was just, yeah, just absolutely perfect. I would hate to even think about trying to top the new album. It's my favorite thing I've ever created by far. Again, I feel like it's the first time I really like hit the bullseye dead center. Like I've gotten close a couple of times as far as like taking what's in my head, translating it out into the real world exactly how I imagine it in my head. Um, I don't think I've ever done a more accurate job of that. So I would hate to think about picking up a guitar trying to top this album, honestly. But yeah, I'll keep playing music. I have a ton of other stuff I want to do.
Did anything change for you from a creative standpoint as you start working on this record, as you start to develop the idea, okay, this is going to be our last album? Did that impact the creative process at all?
Absolutely. Yeah. In a lot of different ways. Like as soon as I was like, if I'm gonna start writing Spirit Adrift music, it's going to be the last album. Like I have to put my foot down on this. So when you're aware of that, it kind of like pushes you harder. I just wanted to be like, okay, it's got to be the heaviest one. It's got to be the best one. It's got to be the most intense one. Like my vocals have to be better than they've ever been. The riffs, like every single riff has to be kick ass. Every single second of this has to be meaningful and powerful. And in the past, you'll have certain constraints, whether it's like budgetary constraints or schedule or deadlines, where it's like, oh shit, okay, well, especially when I was in Spirit Adrift and Gate Creeper at the same time, like making the albums, it's like this album has to be done by this day because one of these bands is going on tour or
Sure.
whatever. So I wouldn't say that there's been stuff in the past that I rushed, but kind of. There was kind of like all right, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I have to have 8 songs done and ready, But with this one, there were no constraints at all, no budgetary constraints, no time constraints, no nothing. So I was able to really make sure that every second of it was exactly how I wanted it to be. And yeah, I had a very clear vision to thinking back on the whole catalog. What what I really like about Spirit Adrift stuff and what I in retrospect maybe don't like so much. I'm like, okay, let me just do the stuff that I really like, which I kind of discovered was like a Venn diagram of old school doom and old school thrash. Like smash that together. What do those things have in common? So yeah, I had a lot of very clear artistic objectives from day one.
You mentioned this is your favorite album, but I always felt like Spirit Adrift, Nate Garrett. I mean, it's the same thing. You can't separate one from the other. I don't believe in that whole separating the art from the artist. I think the art is a reflection of the artist, and more so the reflection of the moment in time in which the artist created the art, if nothing else. When you look back at those 10 years, six full-length records, where do you see yourself more than the musician as the man? How much has Spirit Adrift contributed to who you've become as a person?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, it definitely. I've had life experiences because of Spirit Adrift that I don't think I ever would have otherwise. I mean, just even like the traveling and the meeting people and the yeah, getting to be friends with a lot of my heroes, like Kirk from Crowbar is like one of my best buds now. Almost like a second father to me, you know. Um, yeah, getting to play like Download and Hellfest and stuff like that. Yeah, I've continued to grow and change because that's really important to me to try to continue to like be a better person every day than I was the previous day. I'm not perfect at that. Um, yeah, but like you said, the albums sort of reflect whatever I was dealing with at the time or going through at the time. So it's been a really organic thing. You know, there's never really been anything forced about it. Yeah, I've changed a lot, and I think the Spirit of Drift's music and the band itself changed a lot, and I think it all went out on a high note. Whether it's like the guys that are in the band, it's my favorite guys that have ever been in the band. Not knocking anybody else, it's just a really good group of dudes, and the reception of the new album has been like crazier than anything I've done in the past, and uh, yeah, just going out on top. That's what it feels like.
I know there's a lot of things you're not going to miss as far as the music industry is concerned and what you have to deal with as far as Spirit Adrift goes. But is there something you're going to miss a lot? Maybe playing live shows, big festivals. Is that something that's really going to, give you a little bit of a niche?
Yeah, I really like playing shows, and you know I've heard people say that touring is like my friend in Arkansas who's in that band Wake, my friend CT, he made a documentary back in the day about like the southern United States like touring circuit, and I forget who it was, but they said something like touring is like 23 hours of absolute hell and 1 hour of like the best feeling you've ever felt, you know, and that can be true some days. But I look back fondly on traveling, man. Like just memories of like driving through Yellowstone or something, and just sticking my head out the window, seeing seeing parts of the world that I would have never normally seen. Uh, and it's cool, you know. People pay a lot of money to go on vacation to go see Prague or to go see Copenhagen or dude, I've been to fucking Russia. Like, when's that gonna happen again? You know, for American metal bands. So I'll miss that. I'll definitely. I'm kind of a wild guy. You know, I need to be out like doing crazy shit. So I will definitely miss that. But I mean, I'll tour again. Whether it's with Neon Nightmare or something else, I'll definitely tour again.
I was going to say, I mean, if you ever come by Toronto, don't be a stranger. Hit me up. Let me know you're in town. Definitely will take you out for dinner. And I don't drink alcohol, but we'll drink whatever you want to drink, and we'll have a great time and reminisce on those Spirit Adrift records. You definitely have left a mark in the scene with the music, with the sound that you've created. I remember discovering the band through a T-shirt that I got on a Metalhead box. Of all things, what a way to discover
Oh wow,
what a way
cool.
to discover a band. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I got the box, I open it up, there's a Spirit Adrift t-shirt. I still have it. I think half of the t-shirt is gone now because I washed it so many times. So like the design is like half gone. I don't even remember which album cycle it was. But the logo was really cool. It kind of looked doomy, like kind of psychedelic kind of look. And I'm like, that's totally my kind of shit. Now I gotta go check out who this band is. So it's such a cool way to discover a band, and it was such a good way to get introduced to the band and listen to the records over the years. So from a fan, I thank you for your time and your service to the cause.
Thank you, man. Means a lot. It's always good to talk. I was telling my wife, like, oh, I've talked to this guy like 3 albums in a row, I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which is like that's why I was kind of sad. Like you're one of the coolest dudes to talk to about music. I really love your insights into music. And I also love the music that you create and how you approach making music. So this was a little bit bittersweet for me because I really enjoyed the album. I was traveling a lot. I've been traveling a lot. I'm actually leaving for Iceland tomorrow. So this month, I think I've been at home for 4 days at the most for the whole month of April because I was at Inferno in Norway. Now I'm going to Iceland. So it's been crazy. And when I received the notice that it was the last record, I really wanted to do a review, but I wasn't even home to do a review for it. So I was like, okay, I can do a review, but can we please have a chat? Like at least that, can we do that? You know what I mean? Because I'm definitely gonna miss talking to you about records. Hopefully, you do something and we get to talk about whatever that something is. But more so, I really appreciate what you've created and the legacy that you've created with Spirit Adrift. We have 6 records to listen to, and those are not going anywhere. So we can always, when we're feeling nostalgic, we can always put one of those on the record player and enjoy it.
Thank you, Pedro. That means more than I can tell you, man. Thank you.
And I hope your wife is doing well. My wife went through something very similar 2 years ago, so I know exactly. It puts the world in perspective. It puts your life in perspective, and my life changed. Even though I wasn't the one sick, my life changed completely from that day forward because I just
Yeah,
didn't take any single day for granted, any single minute for granted. I want to make the most out of every single opportunity, you know?
that's exactly right, man. I understand that completely.
So I hope she's doing much better. You guys stay safe and healthy out there. And thank you very much for your time. And like I said, if you come by Toronto, don't be a stranger. Hit me up on Instagram, on the socials. We'll meet up. We'll do something.
I absolutely will, man. I appreciate it, Pedro. There's good food up there, so
There's a
come
lot of
on.
choices too. I mean, you can pretty much have the pick of the litter. You can you can eat whatever you want here. It's really the world is your oyster as far as restaurants are concerned in Toronto. So there's a lot of stuff that we can have, and it would definitely be a pleasure to see you in person.
One day it will happen. Maybe with Neon Nightmare. We'll see. People want
Yeah.
me to tour with that project like really bad, so we'll see.
Make it happen, man. Maybe that will get you back to Russia.
I I hope so. That shit was cool, man.
Anytime you get to travel is always a great experience. Always a great experience. Traveling is almost like pizza. Even when it's bad, it's still good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Take care, man. All the best, Nate.
Cheers, Pedro.
See you,
Thank you,
man.
man.